everybody? It's your host Cam from Psychedelics, bringing you our second episode of the SeshCast. Today I'm joined by our co-host Nick and today's guest Teddy. In this episode, we're going to go over our psychedelic experiences and how it's affected us, and much, much more.
How's it going, folks?
Um, I'm doing pretty well. I was kind of taken aback to be invited to be here. Not really sure what to expect, but you know what? I'm an open book about these types of things, and I'm very interested to hear about what you guys want to talk about today.
Yeah, man, we brought you on because we know you got some good stories, and I would love to share my psychedelic experiences with everybody around the Discord. But with that being said, I think we should go into our first topic of conversation today. What was your first experience with mushrooms, and how did that go?
Yeah, okay, so my first experience with mushrooms, well, let me tell you, I mean, it went from, okay, so I, I'm gonna stick with what it meant to me and the meaning and the feeling and instead I'm not going to try to describe the set and setting and all that stuff because it's really irrelevant, you know, because really what you come out of that trip, regardless of where you are, come out of it, you know, that's what's important. And there came a point during my trip that I just had this like profound feeling of love, and it felt like secret knowledge was being shared with me. Like, I don't know, it felt like I all of a sudden understood the meaning of life or something, right? And I'm like, whoa, you know, like the meaning is life of life is just to be good to each other. Like it's to take care of each other and be good to each other, and try to be better people, even though we're not perfect, you know, and just try to help. Well, the helping part maybe came later, but like just try to be a loving, caring person, and but it did take a turn, and this is interesting because it was, you know, because it was my first trip. Then it kind of transitioned. Oh my! I'm sorry.
Little technical problems.
Yeah, it's just some technical difficulties while no, just uh okay, so no, it helps me readjust, you know. And so one thing that happened was that after that feeling of like this like just peace and harmony and all of that, all of a sudden it kind of shifted into this like scary weird. I started thinking like I could just die right now and I would be okay with that. And I'm
Kind of
like,
like a ego death
that's
situation.
like it was just weird. I'm like,
Did
do I
did that
really want to die right now?
did that make you scared at all? Were
Oh
you
yeah, no. I had to leave all my friends and walk. I had to walk downstairs and go sit alone for a
so
while.
you were with your friends when this happened?
Yes, all of a sudden, or like I walked downstairs and then had to sit alone to just really process what was going on because there's way too much. I mean, there's all these people around, and you
Hmm.
know, so
Overstimulating. It just all comes down on
yes,
you.
of course. But then, you know, once I thought about why I was thinking that, I was like, well, no, I'm thinking that because I just felt something just so beautiful that I'm like, nothing will ever be as beautiful as that, you know,
Nothing can,
and
yeah, no, man, I'm sorry to cut you off, but nothing,
no, it's all good.
for people that haven't done this, listening to this, there's really nothing that can really explain this drug to
Yeah.
people, so it's kind of hard to really put people in your shoes
Yeah.
when you're taking in like the ever presence of God almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that helps us move on to one of the other questions. And I'm not sure if it's in the right order, but okay, you brought up God. Now, I did grow up religious, okay, but but one thing about mushrooms though, um, mushrooms mushrooms not only made me want to have a closer relationship with my parents and a more honest relationship with my parents, but it actually made me have more respect. Like I actually went and like read the Bible randomly, and it's not that I like all of a sudden became like this hyper Christian person, but I was
Yeah.
just more I became more interested in spirituality. Let's put it that way. And that was a spirituality that I knew from childhood, but then later on in life I studied philosophy of religion. I studied many different types of philosophy. So I think, that singular experience like opened my eyes to, I mean, just so many different, um, possibilities and
Hmm.
ways of thinking that I never would have,
When
never.
when
Yeah.
this wasn't my first. I okay, so like the first time I tried mushrooms, it wasn't all that much. I didn't really have much of an experience
Yeah.
with it.
Same here.
But the second time I did it, it was like an actual, trip. And
Yeah.
it was just under 7 grams, so you can only imagine. Yeah, I was
I
in
did
for a
six
That'll do
ride.
it.
grams.
I was buckled into that
That'll do
roller
it.
coaster and I was shot straight into that fucking trip. But I will say, I came out of it very, I wouldn't say religious afterwards. I would say I'm more open to the thought of it, or more open to
Spiritually
take interest
connected.
in. Yes, I was
Yeah.
spiritually connected in a way that I hadn't felt before. And going into the trip right before, I wanted to have this experience where I was having this religious moment that I could feel for myself, and then, build off of that. And I got exactly what I was going for, I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
And okay, do you mind, or
Go
one
ahead,
last thing?
John.
One thing that's interesting about mushrooms specifically as a psychedelic, as opposed to LSD, for one thing, is that mushrooms, sounds crazy, but mushrooms have a consciousness and they understand your motives and they understand what you're doing. If like why are you taking this? And like it'll mess with you if you're like,
Yeah.
it'll literally whoop your ass
It
if
will
you're.
it'll fucking it will paddle you.
Yep.
It'll bend you over their knee and just paddle you
And be
Oh
until
yeah.
like,
in yep.
look, you don't just play. This isn't just fun and games, okay?
No, it's
It
But
really
but
shows
it's
you
it's all. But those are
waiting.
also beautiful experiences, though. Too.
mhm.
You can't say that they're not. But
Yeah, and
um,
I've had quite a few trips myself. We'll get more into it later in the episode, but I've done a numerous amounts on numerous occasions, and I will say even the bad trips, and I know it's not like this for everyone else, but even the bad trips can even have their beautiful aspects and sides to them.
Yeah.
And
right.
you come out of that feeling a certain type of way, more built up rather than torn down. But again, that's different for other people that have
Of
had worse
course.
experiences, and that's just me myself, and I'm not going to go ahead and say that you're going to have the same experience as me.
Never. Yeah. And some people. Okay. Hold on. Uh, I just I was, I lost my train of thought. All
Feel
right.
that. I feel that. But yeah, no, I've noticed even with my personal experiences as well that mushrooms have always been another step of connection between either my family relationships, mental problems, or anything. Because I feel every time that I've had it, no matter how bad it is or how good, I've always seen the light that shed. And I feel like that's a great thing because it shows that a lot of people that resort to this, that even without drugs and having to put stuff in your body to live, sometimes you may be better off without, and it really can sometimes show you what's right and what's wrong.
Totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
because
100%.
yeah, I remember I had this one trip. It was a 6 gram trip, and it was pretty fun. And I actually, the crazy thing that I've noticed is when Cam got that tattoo on his arm, is I had that imprinted straight into my eyes. I could not see anything else but that when I was sleeping.
I want to cut you off real quick because this one time it was on a 400 microgram trip. So I took two gel tabs. One was like I'd say 7 p.m. and then I took one at 8. So I was kind of already tripping when I took the other one, and I want to say maybe about 8 hours after this. I won't explain the full trip because I want to make a video on that myself personally. It's a great story. But I saw one of these. I was laying in my bed and I saw one of them. Like when I closed my eyes, and like I couldn't tell if I was sleeping, but I must have fell asleep at one point because I woke up the next day. But I had this like this encounter. That is exactly why I got the tattoo. Well,
Yeah,
one of the reasons.
yeah.
And
It's like
yeah,
they talk to you.
yeah, no, they do, and it shined a light so bright that I couldn't look at it, and it just radiated with love, and I don't know how to
That's what
explain
I'm
that.
saying. It's like you're
The
so
love,
filled with emotion at that time. Yeah.
and I don't. It seems like you two are like obviously we haven't known each other for very long, but it seems like you two share very very similar experiences to myself, and I do believe it should be just briefly pointed out that like mushrooms also have this weird healing power where if you have like some trauma or whatever, I mean, and you're prepared to deal with it, like sometimes you can come out with like oh, and it can help with alcoholism too.
You
I
come out
think
Yeah,
stronger.
no,
Yes.
yeah, no,
yeah.
that's people turn to kratom to get off their alcohol. People turn
Mm,
to this substance, GHB,
no.
whatever. And what they really don't understand is that there's this medicine on this other side of this door that you just got to open, and
Yeah.
you get plunged into either a really good therapy or a really trippy experience.
Well, and sometimes those experiences, like the afterglow or whatever you want to call it,
Hmm.
I've had trips that like okay, for instance, I completely stopped eating meat for almost 2 years after this one trip I had. Yeah, it
This
was
this this
nuts.
doesn't really equate, but like one time after a trip, or it's kind of really every time after a trip. I do this before. I kind of clean my entire setting. It's just the trips don't like the clutterness. I don't. That's
Yeah,
just me
yeah,
personally.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
and then
feel that.
after the trip, I feel that afterglow, and I'm like, fuck, man, I really want to just be clean. I want to get all clean,
Yeah.
and it's just like it's a really cleansing thing.
And it's very, if you have any a little bit of depression too, it helps lift that. I mean, it's not
Hmm.
going to cure super bad depression, but
And
or I mean, you need to take, that's there's
And
time and
that's
place, but
that,
yeah,
that's
and
that's
that's the
another
thing.
thing
You
that
gotta be smart about it.
That's another thing that they're starting to do with psychedelics, and I think that you're going to start seeing that a lot more in the coming years is therapy with these substances, and that's a topic that we wanted to go into
Yeah.
today is
yeah,
Yeah.
therapy sessions with
perfect.
Yeah.
psychedelics.
You know?
And
Yeah. No.
I myself am I believe in that so heavily.
Oh,
MDMA, LSD, shrooms, DMT, ayahuasca, whatever it would be, just a spiritual psychedelic experience to really heal you from either your
Yeah.
addictions or your mental struggles. It just really can get under your skin and heal you in places that you didn't think could be touched.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. And that I really, this is one thing I like that the government is starting to push on is doing these drug related therapies because you know how they are. They research it, they'll classify it as a drug, and they'll just keep researching it for hundreds of years, and it takes forever. But we are finally at that time now where they can actually start doing this. And like Cam
Yeah, and
said, I am a sole believer on
Um,
that stuff.
that's why they have to really start not treating these drugs as drugs because again, we said this in the last episode. The quote unquote name drugs just does not label all substances. And before I go ahead and segue myself into a different topic, I know Teddy over here had an
oh
experience
yeah,
he'd like to share with
yeah.
us about his own therapy that he underwent.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm assuming you're talking about ketamine.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And I love that. I'm so happy that we made a great segue because like it just makes you feel good. Okay. But like, ketamine, ketamine is a difficult drug for a lot of people to grasp and even to talk about. And even people that I know that have done it will tell me they hate it or they hate the people that do it or all the sorts of, I mean, there's a lot of negativity, but it does come with some sort of, it does come from someplace, and that's because people overdo it. Now, here's, I, I guess I will preface this by saying I never cared much about ketamine. I'd done it plenty of times in my early 20s, but then once I had a pretty bad bout of arthritis that is something I experienced, early in my 20s, and I go to music festivals, and I didn't want it to ruin that year, like I didn't want it to ruin that year at the festival, and so I bought a cane and I did all these things so I didn't have so I would like be able to make it around the festival, barely able to walk, and then oh, but while I'm in line, and like, when you're in line waiting to get in, you're just like, I'll take anything. I'm just ready to party, And this guy came by and he's got like this like kitten pouch around his neck, and he's like, "You want to buy any? You want some kitty?" I'm like, "Sure, whatever." I mean, like, I don't know, whatever. It was on a whim, right? And so I bought, I don't know, I probably bought like a ball or something, right?
Yeah.
And then like I did a bump, and like it was mind blowing how much it helped with the pain. And not only that, it got me through the entire festival. And it wasn't like I was K-holed stuck in a chair or
It,
anything like that. Because
it's
if you dose it right, it's an anesthetic that I felt I could dance. I mean, I wasn't
Yeah.
like limping. Like it felt
would you
amazing,
would you say
Hell
it's
yeah.
more of a dissociative or like more than a psychedelic, or would you say it's more of a as you said what's the word you just said,
Painkiller.
Uh,
anesthetic?
Anesthetic.
anesthetic.
Painkiller.
Well, it's what they refer to as a dissociative anesthetic. Now that there are multiple kinds of ketamine, and the most psychedelic kind is the S isomer. There's the R isomer, which is more of like a probably going to be your body pain relieving kind of type. But like that S isomer is where you get the incredibly trippy K holes or whatever that people talk about, you know. And I mean, I don't really know if I want to spend a lot of time trying to explain that on a podcast, because it's like there really is
Yeah,
there really
there's
is
just
there's no explanation
there's
for
no
what
way
it
to
is.
Yeah.
explain it, but then
Yeah.
there's a long way to explain it.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's a dissociative. So like it does seem like you like are outside of yourself, but still, if you do and don't abuse it, you're still well in control of yourself.
Yeah.
And and that, now moving on, from that experience, that's when I finally realized that ketamine was a medicine and not just a party drug, and that doing it in small amounts throughout the day helped me manage my pain, and it was a lot of fun and psychedelic and stuff, and like it was great. And then later on, I more and more evidence started to come out about ketamine being an incredible antidepressant, for people that were, what is it called,
Suffering
uh,
PTSD.
well, medication resistant, I guess is what
Ah,
they,
yeah, yeah. Nah, I gotcha.
yeah,
So people like me.
like yeah, some people have tried all sorts of antidepressants and nothing works. And usually these are people in pretty tough tough shape. I mean,
You gotta
depend,
be,
but
yeah.
I mean, it depends. It all depends. But the I do have a friend who has had 14 injections at a ketamine clinic, and I mean, she's she's one of my, like one of my closest friends that are still alive. Forgot
Yeah.
about that, right? But no, just hearing her experiences too opened my, like, I have never done the infusion, okay? Because it's just very expensive, and I guess I look at it as like, look at, I can get the same thing on the street, and if I focus on what I'm trying to do, I can maybe get the same effects. But I honestly question that. I mean, I really would like to try an injection, but again, we're moving towards where these things are acceptable. Like, there's a clinic where I can go.
Yeah,
Now there is.
yeah.
Yeah, and
And
it's
they're
pretty awesome.
now they're starting to open towards DMT now. They're starting to open
Yeah.
DMT clinics where they're allowing to do group sessions if you're interested.
Do you think they won't do acid clinics just because it lasts too long? Nobody wants to sit there for 12 hours.
Yeah, dude, I think so too.
Probably not.
Imagine just 16 hours, all of
I
everyone in
mean,
just a room.
then
Just
again, you got your shamans doing ayahuasca rituals that last a day. I mean, they're going
Yeah.
unpaid too.
Well, how about what are your experiences with DMT then?
Um,
I personally don't have any experiences. This is all more Cam's thing. I'm still
mine personally, I
on
haven't
weed.
had a breakthrough dose. I haven't had a crazy experience. I've had a sub
Ah,
breakthrough dose. I've gone into the waiting room. I've
right.
nothing too crazy. It's just the feeling about it is it's almost unexplainable. Honestly,
Well, yeah.
it's there's really no words for it. It's just it's a blanket of love and just peace. I don't know
Would
how else to put it
would you
besides that.
describe it as well, if you didn't break through, but it was a semi out of body experience?
Partially, I would say so.
Okay. Because, like, it sounded like you almost got there, but you just, yeah. Like, so, like, blasting off, as they say,
Hmm.
which is like, I mean, that's kind of most psychonauts. That's the end
That's your
goal.
Definition
goal.
of
That's your goal. Yeah.
that's kind of their
Yeah.
definition of a DMT trip, more
Right,
so.
right.
Yeah. Hmm.
Although it is nice to get fractals and stuff where you just do a
Yeah.
little bit,
Hmm.
but blasting off is the first time I ever blasted off. It was like the only way to describe it was like my from my feet, like it felt like just like my, I don't even know, like it felt like my body, but it really wasn't my body. It was like at the
Your
essence of my body, whatever,
your nerve
was
ending.
being,
Yeah.
yeah, like was being ripped slowly from my feet all the way up to the rest of my body, and then just catapulted into fucking outer space. Like
Yeah.
just, I mean, just boom. And I was like, okay, I mean, it was one of those times where it was an ego death where I did, I remembered my name, but, and I remember, but like, I
You just
was,
weren't in this world.
oh no, I was completely out of this.
Yeah.
Like, you could have looked at me. I was out, and it wasn't very colorful or anything, and it was, the only way I could describe it was like weird oil stains. It was like oil stains that
Okay,
were
so
like,
I don't know if it was like this for you. I've heard this is kind of a commonly shared experience, but the more hue is kind of like towards like an orangey color. I don't I don't know how to put that.
it, it, it-
It's not really more so on the color grade. It's more so just of its own color, but it has
yeah,
like almost a tint to it.
like, then that's why I say it's like oil spots, because like, well, what does an oil spot look like? It's got like, it
Burnt
has
DMT.
colors in
Burnt
it.
DMT.
Yeah, like, but 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 these like oil spots, they were like, but what was this? They were, they seemed to be some sort of entities, whatever, right? But shapeless, formless, whatever. And but it seemed like they were all pointing at me and laughing at me and being
Yeah.
like, "What are you doing here? What are you doing here? What are you doing here?" And I'm like,
What are you doing here, my
Like,
friend?
what? Yeah, what do you mean what I'm not doing here?
Another
Like, I don't
another
know. And they're like, you're not supposed to be here right now. Like, and I'm like, okay, like, and so, eventually I came down and I was just like, oh my God, like, this, I don't know what that was, but like, whatever that experience it definitely makes you start even more so than mushrooms. It really starts to make you question. Like mushrooms help you spiritually, and then DMT, I believe, is really what helps people with
Whole nother thing.
deal with mortality and shit like that.
Yeah.
Deal with human like the human condition and the
yes.
fact that we're all facing the same end game, and that
Yeah, we're all
you
gonna
know
die.
yeah, we're all gonna die,
Exactly.
and like
And I think what DMT shows you is that this is not it.
right,
Yeah.
there's something else.
And
I
that's
think
I'm no matter like not I have not tried it yet, but the amount of research I've done and everything is pretty close. I'm just about ready to, but like you
hey,
said
One more thing before we change topics here soon.
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
yeah.
What another commonly shared thing I've heard before, which I didn't really hear since I didn't get any entities talking to me on my trip. But did you like when they talked to you? Was it almost like at a heartbeat thump? Like
mm, it
like at
no,
no, no
that's
like at the BPM of it, like beats per minute. Like it kind of it's just like
like
uh
I had a hum
what
to
no
it,
like
or
almost like what are you doing here? Just slower, just like clapping your hand. Just
Like in a rhythm.
I'm not saying like a literal like beat behind it.
no,
I'm just saying
I
like
can't say that it was like that. It was almost like telepathic.
mm,
Yeah,
yeah no
like it
I
was
that's
just like in my brain, and it
yeah
was like, yeah,
what like
but I can also sense them there.
I'm kind of asking like how what were their voices like? Were they like what are you doing here or like what are you doing here?
Like
I don't just
how did
like
they
how did
portray
they
as they
Oh,
were
speak?
talking?
yeah, yeah. Honestly, the way that it came off it was not like in a it came off in a semi-serious nature, not like but almost curious nature as well,
You're just
because
more they're more wondering why you're here.
yeah. Like so, like they're just like, "What are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here." And so like they were. It felt like they were curious, and I was just
Like trying to
confused.
hide something from you.
And
Yeah.
I was just confused. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know. Like, why are you
When
asking me?
when you
Just listening to
when you came down, what was that experience?
yeah.
Like what was coming back
Uh,
into your body,
I
if you can
mean,
remember?
it 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 felt shitty
Oh yeah,
because
it's
okay,
like
because all of a sudden all my problems came back, and
You're
everything
you
that like
again.
yeah, everything that I ever had to worry about is all back in my mind, and like that's why I do think that like, well, I don't really want to go too far into like afterlife stuff, but like I was free of all that up there for whatever reason, and it was just me and them and peace and harmony, and I don't know, that's kind of how it
just
felt.
yeah,
But
no,
then
I've
when it came
noticed
back down, it didn't feel like a relief. It felt kind of just like oh, like,
back to
well,
normal.
yeah, back to, and I mean, of course, I was like very startled by the experience,
Yeah.
uh, but humbled,
It's
of course.
it's almost like you just won something and then you get the prize back and it's like,
I,
"Oh, this
I,
is
I felt like they allowed me to have that trip because I had done DMT before and never had any of that type of thing,
That's
and
what I'm
then
saying.
they were like, it's time, like you're gonna experience this, like.
Yeah, like it's time for you to at least just see who we are.
And for you, Nick, like there will come a time, and it'll be the thing is you don't ever want to force it, like
DMT will
Mhm.
find you."
yeah, and it'll be the right time, and and you'll have the experience like I had, or like many other people have had, and you don't want to chase it. You just want it to happen organically, you know?
Yeah, you gotta live in the moment when it happens, kind of thing.
Right. But some people I do fear, and I know you guys talk about harm reduction and stuff. One thing, and I know we should pivot, but I think this is important for how much people talk about DMT on podcasts.
Oh, 100%.
Like, the big podcast is that I think it's an unhealthy encouragement for people that maybe are seeking something that they could, I don't know, maybe misguided in their, like, they hear about it and they're like, oh, I'm gonna do a DMT.
Yeah, no, they're misinformed.
They're almost misinformed and misguided in a pursuit of curing something of theirs or escaping from something, or
they're trying to use it in the wrong way.
Yes, yeah.
Or and but I mean, people are gonna do it.
I think going into psychedelics with any expectations never works out, because it's always going to subvert your expectations 100 times.
You need to, especially when you go into psychedelics like DMT, gas, and all that, you need to look more of a mental grounding thought more than a physical thought. It's more of I want to find clarity into this. Or
exactly.
it's not, I don't want to be happy again.
I would say I would find most of my trips to be like memorable moments in my life, and that kind of brings me on to one of our other topics is what was your most memorable drug experience to date?
Yeah, most memorable trip or anything.
Most memorable trip, or just like
any experience.
If it was Tylenol, I don't fucking.
Even if it was Tylenol.
Okay, I do. I mean, and are we each gonna? Hey, why don't you start, Cam?
Okay.
Yeah, how about Cam starts?
Okay, I'll start.
Yeah,
like once. I know I'm the guest, but like, why don't you
do the interviewing for once?
That's a good one.
I don't know. I don't want to be. This is fun. I'm totally enjoying this.
No, this is. It's nothing too crazy. It was one night. The summer of 2022, I think.
This was a toilet thought.
The summer of 2022, I was heavy into my Lucy use, acid use, and this one night I was like, it's really late. It's 11 p.m. What am I gonna do all night? Well, I got nothing to do tomorrow since I didn't work at the time, so I was like, all right. Popping a tab. Okay, so I'm laying back in my beanbag, or more of a I don't know, like a Dollar Tree beanbag. I don't know how to but a really shitty chair.
You describe the fucking beanbag.
I'm just trying to give you a little explanation into how shitty like my sitting was, and then like when it hits. I felt like I was one with like this little fucking mesh little beanbag, and I felt like I was mesh. Okay, but anyway, besides the beanbag, I was watching an anime called Erase the entire time. Shout out to Erase, love that anime. It's a great show. It's a 12 episode show, pretty fast episodes, like 20 minutes. I finished it in the entire night, and when I hit that peak, I was like right on the edge of that like cliffhanger, like it was like peaking in the show. I was not paying attention to the show at all the entire time. I was not watching this shit. I was watching the angels in my walls, bruh. I was watching shit.
Dude, are you really that zoned in on that television show?
Yeah, no, I didn't watch a single minute of it. I had to rewatch it afterwards. It's still a great show. But no, that was a really fun experience. It was memorable for myself, but I mean, in a crowd of people, I did shrooms with my aunt, and this was before she had passed, and I think that would definitely have to be a memorable time of mine.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'll go into depth. I'll go into depth about that later. Probably not in this episode. Maybe in the next episode. I might make my own video about that entire experience altogether. But it was definitely a really memorable one.
Yeah, for sure.
I can imagine.
Yeah, rather than that, like honestly, this is a big thing. Speaking about family and talking about that, how do your family and parents feel about your experience in history?
That's a really good question, and I would say my dad. Uh, he doesn't really know the extent of it. Um,
Yeah, that's how my mother
I'm
is.
I'm more
Yeah,
I'm more I'm more open with my mom though.
yeah, I'm
And
the
she's
opposite
she's
way.
she's she's open to me about her, like what she's done too, and she's had her own experiences, and this is why we're able to talk about it
Hmm.
and connect on a level
And
people
yeah, that's
maybe
the
not
big thing.
be
The
able to.
reason why I really wanted to start this whole thing is because of my father. And and like I was just astounded with what he went through. And not only do I want to share troubles that other people may have related to, but I also want to be able to educate and show people that it's okay, man. If you're going through stuff, it's gonna be okay.
Absolutely, dude.
And I know a lot of people think that going to drugs is a bad way of trying to find a medication or healing, but it's really more of you gotta teach yourself how to make it a
Exactly.
medication.
And I said this last episode, it's not a way of inhibiting your way of looking at life or going
Yeah,
through life. It's a way of
it's teaching
lifting you
yourself.
up and
It's
enlightening you in a way that it makes your experience of the world around you a
it's a
better
Yeah,
time
medicine.
for
It's
you.
a medicine that needs to be respected when used properly,
Yes.
exactly.
and
Yes.
and it's a torturous tool for people that are fools.
For an experience, yeah, and like honestly, especially when you come to DMT and stuff, DMT
Yeah,
shrooms, they're not just a drug; they are a community. It's not a single drug because every time you take that,
No, that's
like you
that's
said,
That's a good word. I'm gonna cut you off real quick because
you
that's a
said
really good
community,
word.
right?
Community. That's
yes,
a good word
Yeah,
because
that's brilliant.
every time I feel when I'm on the drug or on psychedelics, I feel that I'm more a part of something. I'm more a part of a community, a
yeah,
connected
you
consciousness of
are,
people,
yeah. And from my
and
research,
I feel like I'm not alone,
yeah,
almost.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
Then there's the physical community that comes around with the people, like going
yeah,
to
I'm
festivals
talking
and going
about,
to Grateful Dead concerts.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
yeah.
talking about more of who you're seeing and who they are. Is That's a whole nother community living on this earth that we cannot see normally. I feel that there is more than just us living on this earth, but we can't see it.
I
Another dimension,
Just
perhaps, or not dimension.
not
Another not
that
dimension, but what is it? Well, yeah,
a
dimension
I
4D.
feel
you,
that there
are you
is
trying to say like spirits?
not necessarily in a way, but I
But
feel that
almost like the
DMT
entity, like entities, kind of
you
just like
can no, I feel that the energy that is around us that they call paranormal spirits
Well,
is what you get to see in DMT.
I say
I
spirits in a spiritual way.
Yeah, no,
I kind of
spirits
get
in a
where you're
spiritual
coming
way for
from, Nick.
sure.
I kind of get where you're coming from,
I'm
Nick.
feeling that you said that you saw stuff on your walls,
Yeah,
and the amount of people that have
and yeah, no,
passed and are still
that's.
roaming this world in their spirit.
I feel
There's
like
energy.
that's a collected experience, like of people that have
Actually,
these psychedelic
hey,
experiences.
you know what? Can do you mind if I just
Go for
really
it.
like because you guys just like reminded me, and I knew this would happen because I'm like I'm not gonna like remember all the really important things, but like I during this music festival I was having a really hard time with dealing with my health and stuff or whatever. But of course, I always find the ketamine, and I think I took some mushrooms, and I went out to my car to just sit. Okay, I don't know why really, other than to just get into my. I think it was hot out too, and I wanted to crank the AC,
Yeah,
and I just wanted to sit there and bump some K, and then like I had this. What all I could describe is like what I felt the presence of my grandfather
yeah,
and I felt like he was trying to transmit something to me like hey listen like I had to like I had to go through
you
state
found out something that no one knows about.
Or
When
it just felt like he was saying, like, listen, I endured it. You will endure it too. You kind of thing. Like, I don't know, because he had arthritis or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And it was like this weird vibe that I got. Like, where does that come from? You know
I'm
what I
I'm
mean?
I'm gonna cut you off real quick because
He's dead too,
I've
obviously.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
I've had this kind of experience
we all have. I'd like to share mine after Cam's.
after my grandmother passed. It was kind of they live upstate, so we went upstate. This was shortly after that time. I did LSD up there, and this is gonna be a whole nother video I'll make too because it's a whole story in and of itself.
You got all kinds of material.
Yeah, man,
Oh
I
yeah,
do because this was with my cousin and his friend, and we got caught. But before that, I felt my grandmother's presence,
yeah,
and
and
it was more of a feeling of love, I would say.
yeah,
So more than a weird feeling, it was more of a comforting thing, kind of like everything's gonna be okay,
yeah,
Yeah.
everything's all right.
and yeah.
Isn't
That's
that
the thing.
beautiful? That's so
It
beautiful.
is.
It
It
is.
is. No, but to get into a little subgenre for me, Cam knows. A lot of people know in our community that me and Cam are in a metal band together.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
yeah, we're in a metal band together. I am a bassist. He is our vocalist.
I'm
And
the shitty vocalist.
nah, he's talented, man, for sure. But the big thing of why I felt that Cam, like I felt that someone set me up to meet Cam. And I know who the person is. He's not here anymore, but I've talked to Cam about this a couple nights ago. Personally, big thing, my father was huge in the metal scene in the 90s, the new metal scene. Big, 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 big. And his best friend was one of the biggest bands out here in Chicago. And a crazy story is once my parents found out that they were about to have me, is the same exact day that they found out that my dad's best friend passed. And ever since that, I've always felt that I've had a spiritual, like, I've always felt that he's watching over me, he has a part of me. He's the one who's planning out my life. And I feel that's really secured because a couple months ago, I was going through a really horrible, just rabbit hole of just mental depression and PTSD and all
Same
that.
thing. Same
Yeah,
thing.
bro.
Same thing, brother. Same thing.
Yeah, so
Fuck.
I ended
Fucked.
up, yeah, it is. So I ended up resorting to do a mushroom trip. And it was about 45 minutes in, and I was feeling good. Yeah, I was happy. But out of nowhere, I heard his voice telling me what I had to do with my life. And it wasn't like a physical voice, it was a subconscious voice that I felt through some energy. Like every time that I heard him talking, my whole body felt the vibration of that voice. It wasn't outside, it was in me. He was like, I felt like his voice was physically inside me, it felt.
The vibes, man. The
Yeah.
vibes.
And that's how I always felt that he's really been showing me what I have to carry on, and I'm ready for it.
I can tell that you were deeply affected by it too. Just,
It is.
I mean,
Yeah.
because when you just based on your facial expression while you talk about it,
Mhm.
it speaks volumes to what
Yeah.
you just said. And that's one thing that I was like, you can't not be on camera, bro, because I need to see your face. Like, otherwise I don't even know, you know what I mean? Like, I'm
Yeah.
talking to a fucking wall, no,
It,
but
it does.
but really though, I mean, that's beautiful. And the fact that, like, I can see that on your face, man. I can see that on your face. And, but, you know, that's just beautiful. And,
Yeah.
I'm glad that we've all had kind of different, very similar experiences.
Yeah.
That kind of, not,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Did you want to, I don't really have anything else that well, I just wrote this down.
Lincoln Park.
Lincoln Park. No, I think that would be a good thing to wrap up on right after we finish whatever we had to say.
Yeah. I guess here's what I would wrap up on, as far as like psychedelics go, because it's what we covered here, and a multitude of them. psychedelics are absolutely not for everyone. I think we can all agree on that. I know people that should never take psychedelics, or yeah, and um, some people may experiment with them to some degree, and then there's going to be the psychonauts, probably like us, that are like looking deep, trying to look deep inside or stuff.
Yeah, I feel that
And
we're connected in some way. We're meant to take these.
And but we as the psychonauts, we need to what's the word for it?
Caution.
We need to have a presence, so that we can tell the like reducing harm is one thing, but like I feel like having the experience is something that people will respect rather than, I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's more of the experience respect thing. You know a little bit more what you're talking about. You've been through it. It's a little bit easier for you to explain.
And you can't, of course, you can't be like, hey, or you can't make somebody change or what they're gonna do. But like, if I remember this one guy I met randomly, he's like, I've got this bag of K and I've never done K before, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, I was like really wondering whether or not to be like, oh, try it, or I'm not really sure if you should try it, dude, because like you seem kind of I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
his body
chemistry. I don't know that he was
whatever.
the kind of guy that should do K. That's what I wasn't sure of, and I'm just like, oh, but he was whatever. But what to wrap up on a note of like harm reduction and stuff, it's like, obviously learn. You always need to. You can always take more, but you can never take less, and that is one of the big things. And if you buy the ticket, take the ride. You signed up for it, you're gonna ride it out.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna mess around with these substances, you need to do your research. That's the big.
Yeah.
Do your research.
Do your
I think we can all agree.
do your fucking research.
Do your fucking research.
Do your fucking research.
Well, on
or
that
else.
Note, yeah, right. Do you have anything
and
to say to the viewers?
If you do want to go look up some harm reduction, I post it on my own channel. I'll have it linked in the description of whatever we're gonna post this on YouTube, Spotify, whatever else. And then we will also link airwid.org. It's a drug harm reduction website.
Yep.
You can find people's experiences.
Yeah.
You can find their you could just find everything about a drug, pretty much. What it's called, where it comes from, everything like that.
Trip reports. Some of the best trip reports.
Yep.
Oh yeah. And on
That's
top
where I
of
get
it,
most of my content from mine.
Yeah, especially because we talked about very touchy subjects for some people. I will always put the SAMHSA helpline.
Always.
Any of the viewers, as you're listening to this, please reach out, please.
Yeah, if you are experiencing any sort of distressing thoughts or harmful thoughts, definitely reach out to someone. People do care.
Exactly, man.
There's gonna be someone.
I just lost my aunt not too long ago today, and it's not a fun thing at all, man. You really got to reach out, man.
Yeah, but thank you for joining us.
Before we go, I think that's a great little segue. R.I.P. Chester Bennington.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about Linkin Park's new singer?
I hate it.
You hate it?
I hate it and I like it at the same time.
I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. I personally like their new songs. I don't think that she should be singing the old songs. I think they should stray away from the old. They should stray away from the old songs and just move on.
Yeah, this is like a whole new Linkin Park now.
My opinion is that if you're like any band who has, especially like a lead frontman, commits suicide's different than an overdose. Okay, so when you say that you think Chester would have wanted you to do this, I say you don't fucking know what Chester wanted, because he killed himself and he took his own life. You have no fucking idea what he wanted.
Exactly.
Maybe he didn't want to play music ever again.
Who knows?
But
Who
what I
knows?
was
We'll never
going to
know.
say was that you changed the name of the band, and then it's like, okay, it's members of Linkin Park doing something different, but Chester songs are off limits. I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know. But I could go on, so we better not.
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
if one more light goes out. Oh no,
right.
man.
But yeah, no, I appreciate you for joining us,
Yeah,
Ted. But
yeah.
do you have any words of hope or anything for anyone to tell to end it off?
Me?
Yeah, just anything to tell the viewers
Um,
that would
yeah.
feel. Yeah.
You know what? Never get, never give up on telling yourself that you can do better, because it's really easy. It's really easy to get into the mindset that you're just stuck. You're always going to be stuck, and it's not true. Things do get better, and and it's it's hard for everyone. Everyone in this chat has a personal experience that has deeply probably hurt them, and having experienced a lot of loss and my own mental health struggles, like people like us care, and this is why we're here doing this right now. We're doing this because we care,
Yeah.
and and it's something we enjoy, but like we're not here to wax our egos. I
No.
certainly am not, but
Yeah.
we care, and I love what you guys are doing. I really do. So thank you for having me on.
And man,
Yeah,
we
well,
really
thank you for
appreciate
coming.
everything you've said
Yeah.
about us, everything you've said about our channel, and everything you've said today about drug harm reduction and
Yeah.
psychedelics. And I loved hearing your personal stories. I really
Yeah.
do. That's something that not a
It's
lot of people just get up here and tell their own
it takes a
their
lot of
own
courage to do
stories.
this
Yeah, it
stuff too.
does.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and if not me, then who? I guess I don't know, right? Like you have to
Yeah.
ask yourself. You have to ask yourself, like, if who's gonna be the one out there trying? I don't know,
Right. That's what I'm
trying.
saying. If
And so you
we're
guys are trying. You guys are trying.
yeah.
I've tried, but I've never had this type of structure, which I think is, way better than just talking to somebody who's in a psychosis that's never going to listen to you. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure you know. I'm sure you know. I'm sure you know.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah, I know you guys are doing something good, and I appreciate that. Keep it
Yeah,
up.
of course, man.
And actually, you know what? Don't it doesn't have to be right away, but I've got far more stories.
Oh man, we got
So,
far
yeah,
more
dude.
episodes
I
coming
would
too.
love to
yeah.
have you in another episode,
And
dude, for
and
sure.
and
Man,
I
me
would
too.
love to get somebody else on here, like
Oh
this.
fuck
I would
yeah.
love to blow this shit up. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh
Like
yeah.
get a bunch. Find. I mean, I don't know. I could ask some of my friends even like that I
Yeah,
Yeah.
know.
we have it on Spotify.
Yeah.
We're also working currently for people who are from YouTube or Spotify that are
Mhm.
coming that they don't have premium or anything. I'm also going to be trying to put it on Prime Video and also
Sweet.
Apple Podcasts.
I was surprised it was on Spotify. I was like, damn.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we're
Think
really working on
Spotify
getting
was
this out. We're really
yeah,
working on get this out here, man.
yeah,
I love it. I love it. Well,
yeah.
do you guys have, I know the first one wasn't real long, but do you guys want to have more of a, like, structured, now we're kind of just shooting the shit at this point, but yeah, but I like it. I love it.
You know,
But are you
I
guys
love
aiming
talking
for
about
more of
this.
a structured, like 45 minutes to an hour type of thing, long
Yeah,
form,
we're kind of
or
going for that. Yeah.
you want to
Yeah,
go long form? I think long
Hmm.
form is, you can't really convey most of the stuff without.
no, yeah. That's the
No.
thing that I like about what we're doing is that like we said, we set up our intros. That's normal. That's just to give you the information about what's going to be happening today. And then from there, we take it. This is all we pull it out of our ass. We just talk how we feel, and I feel that it brings it a better connection.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's more of a real connection.
It's more of a real connection. You're not reading off a script like it's a news channel or anything. It's a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
The sole thing that me and Cam wanted really to do, especially myself, I want to be able to bring people in like you, and like we just shared all of our stories, and connect and show that other people that there is hope in the world.
Well, now you can post this episode out there, and maybe somebody else would be like, I'd love to come on there, and
Yeah,
or
any viewers or anything.
That's our main goal. Is even if this reaches just one person, even if only one person listens to this and benefits from this, our goal is
you did something. You did something.
Little steps.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And rest in peace, Chester. I love you,
Chester.
I love you too, Chester. Miss you.
Man,
all right. Well,
I'm gonna listen to some Linkin Park after this one.
Oh yeah,
I think this.
I think so too. I think
I think so too. But I think this is a good place to end it. Honestly, I think we should get out of here. I'm gonna go smoke my bowl, take a shower. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Right. Yeah.
Might even you know.
You guys are good souls, and this was so great.
I appreciate it, man. And
I feel like it is a good time to end this. I want to go listen to some Linkin Park. So I leave.
For real. All right, boys. All right, I think this will be the end. Yeah. If you guys want to send some of your stories or just join us and talk to us for a little bit, we are always in our Discord server.
Yes.
If you want to come talk to us, we're in here right now. We're recording a video.
I have an Instagram that you can reach out to. I have my Discord profile you can also reach out to. Or if anything, just hit me up in the comments. I'll just give you a number for you to hit me up.
Yeah, my DMs are always open no matter what social media. I'll respond to you. I'm very open with you guys.
We're always here to help if you have no one, man.
You know what? We can talk about this off stream.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna get me all sappy and shit, okay?
We'll save it.
You're being too nice to me. Stop.
Okay. We'll save it. We'll save it there. We're gonna go ahead and end it for real this time.
Yes.
We love every single one of you guys for watching, listening to this. No matter where you're listening.
Nick. Thank you, Cam. I appreciate you both.
No matter where you guys are listening to this, if you're watching this, when you're watching this, have yourself a great night, a great morning, a great day. Love you guys. Have a great night. Wait.
Love y'all.
Wait, fuck. Great
Love
day,
y'all.
great morning, great night. Fuck.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm
later,
leaving
folks.
this fucking call.
Yeah. That was fucking awesome. Well, folks, you heard it. Ted's gone. It's just me and Cam.
All right.
Thank you, folks, again. And we will see you in the next episode.
Later, boys and gals.